Okay, we're live. All right, so give a few minutes, I guess, for these guests to trickle into the room. Um, so, thank you guys for tuning into my channel. I'm Azrael. I have a special guest for you today. Uh, she's a mutual friend that I made through Zabora. She is a interfaith minister. Now, she knows more about herself than I do, so I'll let herself introduce herself here, and you guys already know me. So, Reverend, tell us a little bit about yourself and your channel.
Hello, everyone. My name is Reverend Victoria, and as Azrael said, we are mutual friends on Facebook and social media through people like Zabora. I'm running my channel, which is brand new, same name for now because I don't have anything creative really at the moment. So, my channel is just Reverend Victoria. I am an interfaith minister, and I'm fairly newly ordained. I only got ordained in April, so I've only been at this whole thing for like 2 months tops. And so I'm very new. I haven't really formed anything yet. So my ministry is still just a little seedling in the ground.
Okay. Well, all right. So may I ask, if you have a religion, what do you self-identify as?
Well, the thing about being interfaith is I don't have one religion, or if I do have a religion I am very close to, I am not so strictly bound to it. And I can also incorporate teachings from other religions into my spiritual path. So just to give you a little bit of background, to help define what I mean, I was raised in the Catholic Christian faith, so I have a lot of Christian leanings, and I hold a lot of Christian teachings to me as my center. But then as an interfaith person, I don't have to necessarily live a Catholic Christian lifestyle. I can incorporate things like Hermeticism, like the like the teachings of Ptahhotep into my life and into my spiritual path. And as an interfaith person, I try to find the teachings and embrace the teachings that that are kind of close to what I grew up with in my Christian household. So I keep it very, close to familiar ground, close to home, but not so close where it's like I can't learn anything new.
So it's kind of like Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do of religion, where he when he was forming his own martial arts, he studied other martial arts. He studied Wing Chun, if I'm saying that correctly. Primarily, we're on live, kind of brain farts, mispronounce names, but he said, take what is useful, release what is useless.
Exactly.
So there, I mean, which is a good way of saying things. And if you take notice in any major religion, even my religion, they always seem to have pretty much the core foundation, which is basically, take care of your family, love your family, try to take care of others. If someone's thirsty, give them water. Basically, overall, it's not death and destruction just because you believe the way we do. Now, there's people out there who obviously do believe that, but even as a mainstream, most humans, there's a reason why everybody's God tends to agree with them, and because if they want to admit it or not, they're picking their own religion regardless. You can have 100 Baptists and 100 Pentecostal, and they all have different ideas because their God, one God says, well, no, my God doesn't like homosexuals. The other one, my God created homosexuals. He loves them all, and that goes, and not just homosexuals. That goes to on down to, obviously, when you read the Bible, it does not really support the teachings of, say, unmarried sex, but I've met people that think God's okay with having promiscuous sex in a Christian setting. So everybody picks their own religion if they want to or not, because their God always agrees with them. So, but overall, what I'm trying to say is that most people want to live a happy life, and the best way to live a happy life is to let people live a happy life you know, and not try to boss them around or be a dick in general. So
So
most people.
yes, yeah.
So I think this is the natural default of the human condition is to basically just want to live. You don't. I don't want somebody stabbing me in the back or raping my daughter, so I'm not going to do that. So I want to live with people that are going to fulfill that. So the natural state is just don't steal, don't do other people harm, and they get into a civilization with that same thing, and they try to back it up with some religious meaning and try to give it more extra meaning. So I believe that it's the human ego that causes the problem, where my religion is better than your religion kind of thing. I believe that's an ego, just like you see this in martial arts. I was using Bruce Lee. You have people saying, I'm MMA, I'm the superior fighter. I am Kung Fu, I'm the superior fighter. I'm blah, blah, blah. I'm a boxer. That's what you get. People's ego gets controlled and does that. And that happens both with everything from religion to non-religion. But so may I ask what got you in wanting to be an interfaith minister?
Well, it's an story. Basically, from the time I was 16, I felt that the church was too small for me. Yeah, and it wasn't because I had anything bad happen to me, thank God, because I've heard the horror stories about why people leave the Christian church. That's terrible, and there's no excuse for that. Um, but I left because while I was, comfortable and happy and all that, it felt too confining for me, too restraining. And I'm a person that has never marched to the symphony's drumbeat. I have always been that type that, if you say color the bear, I would color it in various colors because you didn't specify what color to color the bear.
Or in your case, if they did specify, you're intelligent enough to know that there's not all polar bears, there's not all brown bears, there's not all black bears, So yeah, I understand that.
So
I had a similar problem when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Younger.
Very, very upset, and I was just like, God, I love you. I love this church. I love going to church, but it's too small, and I'm a big fish, and I need to just get out there and grow spiritually. And after much praying, I felt the Spirit, just say, okay, kid, go for it. Do what you got to do. I didn't make you to be in this narrow little box. I made you to want to explore. I gave you that adventurous spirit. And so I went out, I studied anything and everything that interested me, and I just realized, wow, even God's too big of an entity to place in one little box or in one little book. He's everywhere. And he's spoken through the ages.
I forgot the name of the religion. There's a religion. I'm trying to pop in my head. I can't remember at the moment. It's actually it's spurred from. It's got its roots in Islam. Actually, it's a breakaway, and I can't for the love of the gods, I can't remember the name, but I had two friends. One of them died as a child when I was in 6th grade, but they believe that God came, and it has many different teachers so they acknowledge Buddha, they acknowledge Confucius, they acknowledge Native American shamans. Huh?
Is it Sufism?
No.
Oh.
No. The Sufism is more of like a mystical tradition in Islam.
Oh,
It has its roots in Islam, but it's actually its own religion, separate, because they acknowledge other teachers or prophets or even God incarnate. And for the love of God, I can't remember the name of it. And it's growing. We have a temple down here, matter of fact, in the south. Baha'i, yes.
All right.
Thank you.
I was like,
very good.
Oh, that sounds familiar, and I was like, Sufi, no, bye. That's right.
Baha'i, yeah, the Baha'i faith. I was again having brain farts, right? Because we're not doing the scripted, right? So, but yeah, the Baha'i faith, from what I can tell, originated in like an offshoot of or a person leaving. They're kind of like the Protestants started with the Catholic Church. A person leaves the Catholic Church and develops their own interpretation, and so it's a very noble religion, but its parent religion does not necessarily share the tolerance. And I'm not downplaying or trying to insult Islam. I am a very tolerant person, but the going fact is that they're right and everybody else is wrong. Christians have the same idea. Jews have the same idea. Buddhists, half of Buddhism says that, half of the Buddhisms don't. And the other part of Buddhism is its own thing, right? You have Zen Buddhism. You have all. It's not really. Some people say Buddhism is not really a religion. It's a perception of reality, or whatever people want to identify it. Just most recently, I come across Christians that like to say, well, Christianity is not a religion; it's a relationship with God. Would basically all they're doing is trying to redefine something to try to get out of a box, because they also are feeling the same thing, that traditional concepts of religion are too constraining, and they're doing even in their own religion, doing mental backflips to try to redefine the wheel, to say, well, it's a relationship. Well, whatever you do in your relationship to talk to your God and live, that is your religion, if you just want to call it a relationship, whatever. Because the Bible says it's a relationship too. You're supposed to be the bride of the church is supposed to be with the bride of Christ. So it is type of a relationship, but it's how you get to that relationship, it's still a religion, right?
Right. Yeah.
The word religion has just become a label for that even pagans try to stray away from. The word religion. They say, "What's your religion?" No, my path, whatever it is. But it's. Yeah. I can understand that, because we're not growing up when the church, Catholic Church, being one of the largest Christian denominations. First of all, I was Pentecostal, and then I was baptized a Catholic, and then of course. My spiritual growth didn't stop there, but I have a strong leaning towards a lot of Christian imagery as well. A matter of fact, like that, I've got some more videos to do about Christian witches, for example, but I've just got a lot on my plate right now. But anyway, this is about you, not me. So, what are your ultimate goals? What I guess you say ultimate goal. Your ultimate goal is to teach tolerance, right? It's basically, it doesn't matter if you whatever deity you believe, as long as you have the basic. I guess you could say it's a religious version of humanism, right? Where you put humans first.
If you want to understand, you would do unto you. Love thy neighbor unconditionally. Because our Creator loves you unconditionally.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess what I'll say is that I'm a pantheist. I believe the universe is God, or God is. It's both, right? When I look at nature, it's hard for me to see where there's a God that is like traditionally, unconditionally loving, because the same cry from the cat or the kitten to call its mother is the same cry that calls the predator. So this universe is both good and bad in the traditional senses. You have things that will kill you, things that will make you stronger. The universe provides, but some people suffer and die trying to find what it's providing. So I have this concept that there is a loving energy out there, but I don't necessarily understand. I can't conceive that the all God is completely what would be considered all loving, right? So and because of most people have this problem, they split their God into two entities. They have a good and a bad, one doing good, one doing evil, and that's the best way they can rationalize it, when it's all the left hand of the Father is still the right hand of it's still the hand of the Father, regardless of which hand you're from, right? I guess that's what I say. But yeah, I mean, there is a loving energy out there, and a destructive energy that don't really care if it's loving or not, but it has no ultimate meaning behind it other than it's needed. I mean, you can't have a house without destroying the forest.
Yeah, exactly. You
can't destroy the old without making a new. But yeah, I mean, but sorry, there's a small delay, but go ahead. What you were about to say something?
I was saying it's very put and take. You're right. As well. You gotta build. You gotta cut down the trees to build that house. As you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for me, I believe that the right hand of the Father, which is the loving energy, will always triumph, in a sense, over, because we can't have too much destruction, and the left hand can't always be at work, otherwise we'd have no world.
Well, yeah. I believe there to be like an ebb and flow. I guess quoting from the Bible. I mean, again, I have some of my videos seem to be very adversarial against Christianity, and there's a good reason why I do that. I do believe it's a valid religion, but I also believe in pagan apologetics to basically defeat the arguments that are used against pagans, so they can't be pagan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it looks like I'm at 1 minute I'm giving a right cross to a religion, and then in the next I'm fixing the wound, because if somebody's, to me, because I'm basically I'm a priest too, right? And well, I identify as priest, or you could be a minister, but I my wife, I think she lost a lot of her paperwork, but she's also actually an interfaith minister. But for example, if someone comes to me and they're Christian, I'm not going to sit there and tell them why they might find better vibes with a different God. No, it ebbs and flows in the season, right? So there's a right time to do my 1-2 punch to religion, and there's another time where I act like the doctor and fix their faith. I've done that many a times. People who know what I am will still come to me as a Christian, and I will use their Bible to help heal them, and that's exactly what you do. That's what you want to do. That's a very noble way to do things, and just like I guess the Bible say, there's time to reap, time to harvest. Oh yeah, time to plant, time to harvest, time to do this, and time to do that. You know what scripture I'm talking about.
Oh,
and so there's a time for destruction and a time of creation. And ultimately, yes, I do believe that if a God exists, and it's not just a loving consciousness or energy, whatever, that it's a God of create, or God or it goddess is a God of creation, and that's why there's billions of stars and billions of planets. I firmly believe that its main function is to create life overall. And then after, there's a cycle of death that it'll have to do that, and it will just start all over again. So I do believe that it ebbs and flows, where it's good, bad, whatever. Your opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anything ultimately you wanted to technically get started with on your channel? Is there anything I can do to help, other than having you? I don't have I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers. I'd rather have like 10 good subscribers that interact with me than 1,000 that never watch my videos or do anything. So it's the quality, not quantity. But I hope that there's a lot of people that are, that watch my channel will come watch you, check you out, and if something they feel, they subscribe. So I'm helping you out there. But is there anything I can do other than that? Maybe share your videos and so forth.
Yeah,
anything I can do?
Definitely share my videos. Every so often, just give my channel the shout out.
It looks like you might have froze. Are you still there? Technical difficulties. Yeah, okay, you froze. So share your videos, and you were saying something about every now and then on your channel there's, and then you froze.
Yeah, just give me a shout out, like, on your channel. Just say, by the way, shout out to Rev Victoria. Subscribe to her, look her up. Kind of promote advertising. As far as everything else, like, I'm kind of doing my own stuff, or I'm going to start doing my own stuff more, because now I can go live on my own channel. Recently, I just started with that, and I can make longer videos now. So I'm no longer confined to like a 12-minute time limit, which is stupid, because I need more than 12 minutes to grow my ministry.
One of the things I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but one of the things that irritates me about YouTube is that they keep on updating crap. About a year or two ago, I could use my cell phone to do a live stream. Now it says I have to have over 1,000 subscribers to do a live stream with my phone. I can hold it here on my computer and call you or call one of my friends on their phone, but they can't. I can't on my own channel. I can't host go live on my own cell phone on my own channel until I get like over 1,000 subscribers. I'm like, they're getting silly with that
Yeah,
stuff.
they are getting kind of silly with that. Personally, what I did, and I'm just gonna whip out my phone here real quick for an example, is I got a free app that is able to allow me to stream live from my phone onto my YouTube channel. It's completely free. It's streaming live. It's right down there, if you can see it.
Okay, so that's like a little workaround from that little thing I was complaining about.
It's a little workaround. All you have to do is just have it enabled on your computer or something, and then just sign in as if you're signing in on a computer. And then
okay, so it calls your computer and does. All right.
App.
Well, I guess that works, but like I said, if you just going to the channel on my phone and doing that live option, it don't let me until I get over 1,000 subscribers.
It wasn't
which is
me do that either, and that's why I got the app.
And I guess a good workaround on it. Calls the computer. So, is there any you have anything planned on your channel? Things that you plan on talking about on religion? Are you going to sermons? What kind of sermons you going to be talking about?
A lot of nice sermons about like positive dialogue, how we can help each other out and lift each other up as far as religious freedom goes, and standing for each other's religious rights. Because, you know, if I have the right to go to church unmolested, unpersecuted, why can't my pagan friends go to their earth altar in the park or in the woods somewhere? Why do other religious people got to go after them and say they're wrong for praying in the wilderness, and yet, oh, it's perfectly fine if I go to my church or temple or whatever?
Well, one of the things I've got to feel like I got to point out about Christianity, it's persecution of them is actually built into the religion. They don't feel like a Christian unless they are persecuted, so they create a lot of situations to feel like or claim that people are attacking them when they're not. And one of this is actually the early Christian persecution stories, where they believe that Christians were constantly fed to the lions and so forth, right? Yeah, that did happen. There was early Christian persecution, but it was not as big as they claim, because they just recently discovered that before Rome took over and became a Christian nation, they had Christians openly worshiping and openly being Christian in a Roman army, fighting for Romans in their army when Romans were supposedly killing Christians for just being Christian. So that person, so in the long run, only in the United States can like somebody say, well, I don't want you to put the 10 Commandments right here, and they'd say, oh, that's persecution, when they are the majority. But when somebody else wants to put, say, maybe the key functions of the Ma'at or some other religious belief, they shut that shit down. They're like, no, you can't do that. Witchcraft itself was actually illegal in the United States up until the 70s. So Christianity's never been illegal once. So where's the persecution? But in the end, it's a part of their because the Bible actually says that in the last days you're going to be persecuted and you're going to be hunted down with these Armageddon death cults, basically, and that's built into their belief system, pulling from selected scriptures, because in the book of Revelation they're hunting down Christians and all that kind of stuff. So they're always wanting their Jesus to come back. So they always have this, not always, but a lot of the loudest Christians are the ones, are actually a minority, but they have this victim, you're persecuting me complex.
Yeah.
You're persecuting me because you won't let me persecute you, kind of a thing. It's a one-sided argument.
Yeah, and it's not the Christians persecuting the pagans, it's also the pagans persecuting other pagans. Like, I've watched within the pagan community, pagans say, well, you can't mix your pantheons, or you can't be Kemetic and then turn around and do a thing, that's Roman, Greco, or whatever, and other stuff like that. And it's like, guys, is it hurting you in any way? Like,
no, let's take my I've met that same argument, and the thing is this: is that, let's say people who call themselves Christian witches. Okay, that's fine. There's a lot of pagans out there don't like Christians identifying with witches because they don't think that they have the right to call themselves witches because of the history of the church persecuting witches. All right, you might not be able to be a Christian pagan. Now, there's a lot of people who call themselves Christian pagans. It's okay to mix pantheons, but the problem that I would perceive is that if these gods are real, and I say if because I believe there's like one, the universe is God and everything else is that same God. So it's okay to kind of mix, but the energies, everything's energy. Water is energy. Electricity is definitely energy, but you don't want to mix them together because some energies just don't mix well. Yeah. So if you are, say, tapping into, say, the Christian God, which according to the Bible, he is the only God, and he's very jealous, and yet you go out to another God for help, according to their own book, you can't mix pantheons. But nowhere does that say in paganism that you can't be asking Anubis for a favor and then turn around asking Freya for a favor. As, you can have different friends in different neighborhoods and different, I guess in this case, different species or races. Yeah. And spiritual. That's fine. But what if they don't want to work together? Because that's their default programming, such as like when the prophet of God literally slayed all the prophets of Baal because they were worshiping the wrong God. I mean, can't really mix pantheons with that God because that God is so rigid about being the only one.
It's getting to know who you want to work with, and also, knowing what their I guess thing is, what their energy is like, in that sense. But I know a few pagans who have incorporated some Christian stuff and some figures within the Christian faith.
Santeria is a good example.
Yeah, exactly, and it works fine. So again, it depends, I guess, on the situation.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. Like, for example, one of the Ten Commandments that says, "Do not have any gods besides me." That's actually, if you translate it from Hebrew more accurate, it says, "Set no other gods next to me or beside me." So maybe he does allow other people worshiping other gods, but if you have his altar, you have his altar to himself. He doesn't share altars. That's another way of looking at that.
Or hierarchy.
I'm sorry?
Or there's a hierarchy type thing where you have, in voodoo, there's the god, and then there's the Loa, or the powerful spirits and entities, and then beneath them are the mortals.
I think I also heard them called Vase at some point. The Vase.
Voodoo. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert, but
me neither. So, but I understand you're talking about. Yeah,
that I know that would be similar to what I'm trying to say.
And seeing how Christianity borrows a lot from paganism, you can't say that it doesn't work necessarily because their religion definitely works for them, and they definitely have collected a lot of things from paganism. So in the end, maybe it's just the way our brains work, right? See, I believe that our brains are reflections of imperfect reflections of the divine. So when the divine filters through your skull to give you a spiritual meaning, if you're Buddhist primarily, that's what you understand. So that's how it's going to talk to you. It's not going to talk to you as a green alien unless that's what you're expecting, right? So all of our spiritual experiences, that's why we're all having spiritual experiences, but some people see Jesus, some see Gabriel of Islam, or Buddha, or so it's all filtering through our brains. And if they really are dead set on not working with other entities, that's why they set their own limitation. Maybe that's it, But of course, that would just lead to me to believe that all gods are just thought forms, representations. Yeah, but Anywho, I love philosophical thought, but I think I'm getting off subject with it. But yeah, I myself, I was baptized Catholic, and I actually left the Catholic Church for historical reasons. Even though I joined for historical reasons, the more I learned, right, the more I started adjusting. I mean, the first time I practiced magic, and I realized, I mean, I was 9 years old, and I realized that I wanted to be a teacher, and was first originally going to be a pastor in the Pentecostal faith. And that just kept on changing. And so interfaith ministry was actually the best thing, in my opinion, because one of our friends that comes to our meetings is an atheist, or was an atheist. Now he serves the Morgana, or the Morgan. So he went from atheist to witch. But he's an interfaith minister, and since my nephew also identifies as an atheist, not the type of atheist that atheist just means you don't believe in God. Right. So he's an atheist, but he believes in ghosts and spirits and a possible afterlife. But he identifies as an atheist. But he married him and his wife, and he's been coming to our house when we hold meetings for most recently teaching about Lamas, Lunazad, and making corn husk dolls as part of that first festival. You didn't know a thing about that ritual, but or that concept. So he's, I'm holding church out of my own house, I guess. Also using that as a proving ground to find coven members, because I have a coven called well, I'm not going to say that online. I'll say that to you in private. I have a stalker that likes to watch my channel, an ex-girlfriend, and unless she knows about what. But yeah, I'll tell you that. But I am building a coven, and me and my wife are building a coven, and to strengthen that. And what we plan on doing is having pagans helping the homeless. I had a animal rescue, but I just can't financially afford it. But I'm assuming you're doing this, wanting to do certain similar things, kind of like build a little congregation, maybe, or just kind of like.
I eventually have a house of worship. I don't know what I'll call it, but I definitely want a house of worship one day. That's kind of my long-term goal. That will kind of be like the peak of my ministry, would be to acquire a house of worship and a congregation. But I do want to start to have a spiritual flock. I want to have a congregation.
I could so see you putting a little ad out in a free newspaper or around that area, accepting donations and getting a mass donation, and then just start donating to the homeless. Kind of like how some people have donate to us, and then they turn around, they donate it to the homeless, only not making money off it like Goodwill. I can so see you do that.
Thank you so much. Yes, so that's what I want to do. I want to work with the disadvantaged, the special needs people, because, not just because I feel that's my moral duty as a minister, but also because I'm special needs. I have total empathy for the special needs community. I could do a whole other video about that. And, just the less fortunate, for the least of the brothers and sisters out there in general, is what I want to do. And, the more the merrier. I'll have, like my little congregation helping out if they want to, if they feel so moved. I won't force anyone to come to an event and work it with me.
Well, one of the things that I was wanting to ask, without giving your location away, what state do you work out of?
New Jersey.
Okay. Well, that's a big enough city to where you could definitely it'd be easier than South Carolina. I tell you that, because South Carolina, we're a small state as it is, but it's the Bible Belt. And New Jersey, you get a lot of liberals. I'm not saying that liberals automatically are non-Christian or anything. I'm just saying you get a lot of people more open-minded.
Yeah,
I guess you could say. Not using the word liberal, because not to be a political thing, but liberally as in you understand that if someone's hungry. See, down here, Oliver Gospel Mission is a perfect example. It helps the homeless, but there's a cost. You have to sit through a sermon, or you have to do prayer. Basically, it's a way of being an evangelical holding the sandwich hostage to a hungry man. And I think that, dude, if you're there to help the homeless, have that Christian stuff out there for them if they want to come for prayer, but don't hold his goddamn sandwich hostage because he's got to pray with you before he gets his food.
Well, yeah,
That's
first,
kind of what we have down here. So,
I don't think that my, Lord would want me to evangelize to somebody and not feed them first if they're hungry. I think he'd be more pleased with my earthly work if once, I go to my judgment, if I fed that person first and then low-key struck up a conversation with them. If they wanted to, if they're like, thanks for the sandwich, you can go away now, I'd be like, okay, have a good day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that's what we have the problem down here. So I have some friends that I have a lot of atheist friends. I have some friends that meet at the local UU or Unitarian Church. And yeah, so they do this atheist helping the homeless kind of thing, and they just donate and make a little line, bags of either food, toiletries. They just give it. They don't force religion on them. They just give it because they're kind. But down here, like I said, everything's religious. Almost everything is religious motivated. I mean, we just recently got to where here in certain parts of South Carolina, you could actually buy a beer on Sunday because it was actually illegal to buy anything except for food on Sunday until 1 o'clock. I mean, there's a lot of religious laws that are not supposed to have been passed in the first place because they're based on religion, and government and local government's not supposed to take a stance on either one.
Yeah.
But that's what that is. But yeah, that's one of the things I like about the interfaith ministry is that it teaches tolerance, because a hungry man doesn't really care what God you worship as long as he's fed for the most part.
Exactly.
And that's another thing is that there was an atheist group that was donating money to a homeless shelter who were fat Christian, and this actually made it in the news a little bit. The church refused the money from the atheists.
Now that's just
because that's how backwards, and that's one reason why I'm very combative. It might seem like I'm anti-Christian sometimes, but it's because I'm overcompensating for what's actually being thrown on me left and right. So, but again,
despicable. It's good money, even if it is, a non-believer's. Speaking from somebody who grew up in, the Christian faith and who knows a little bit about,
I recall a story from the New Testament where people grab this guy, the apostles grab this guy and bring him to Jesus, says, we caught him casting out demons in your name, but he's not one of us. He's not with us. And Jesus replied, well, it doesn't matter. If he's with us, he's not against us. Basically, if you remember the story I'm talking about. Yeah. I can't remember the scripture name, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly. I've read it. I've seen it it's in black and freaking white, literally. Pardon the French. So,
yeah, I'm pretty sure Jesus would be more compassionate than
exactly. I always believe Jesus is more compassionate than a lot of these fundamental Bible Belt, Bible thumpers pass him off to be. I'm like, I sometimes look at them and I go, I don't know what Jesus you're following, but
well, that's I mean, with me, if you look at it, honestly, there's a whole group of people that can't wait for the Armageddon and punishment and death and the destruction of the world, right? To me, if you're thinking about it, that's what's in that's what Revelation talks about. So I can't help but think that ultimately, originally, Christianity was a death cult because they're anticipating and celebrating the coming of the end, right? Because but that it's evolved more than that now. Obviously, I mean, Christianity is just like he's a Jewish, supposedly a Jewish Messiah from his father, who's a Jewish God, which is the same God in the Old Testament that actually would kick my own wife from going into the temple to offer a sacrifice because she's imperfect. Because in the Old Testament, it talks about if you have a fucked up nose, if you're missing a testicle, you can't enter the temple because you're imperfect.
Yeah.
And so you see how God changed over centuries as culture changed, and became and no longer accepted slavery, no longer accepted discrimination against disabled people the way they look. The God all of a sudden changed his mind. So he was this war God in the Old Testament. Now he's this loving, encompassing all being. And even the Jesus in the Bible does have limits and condemn sin and certain things. But even that, this Jesus is now changing again, and the people are rewriting God as they need him, and which supports my belief that everybody's worshiping the same idea of God. It's just their ego gets in the way, and they put it down on paper. And so Jesus could be anything you want him to be or need him to be, because he's supposed to be your savior. And if you need to be saved by a Superman instead of a slug wearing a helmet, then he's going to be a Superman. So,
Exactly.
Dogma is the worst. Dogma is the worst thing any religion. It's like a virus that will infect religion and destroy it.
Dogma,
So,
yeah, dogma.
But anyways, I look forward to seeing your fan base and your ministry grow.
Thank you.
I don't really have I don't again no script, so there's a lot of questions that I'm probably going to have. I mean, I'll probably have you on my channel again, perhaps talking about everything from religious things on down to non-religious things. I don't know. I'm all new to this too as well, so I definitely hope that your channel grows, and people in New Jersey, look out, because a new minister's in town.
Sure.
That's just scripture in the West, right? No. So, but if there's anything you would like to say or do before we probably come this to a close, the floor is yours for how long you want it.
Awesome. Well, I would just like to say to everyone who is watching this broadcast right now that the mission of my ministry, which I'll even say the name of, is Ancient Inner Light Ministries. And I came up with that name, and I'll explain that in a video maybe on my own channel. But I just want to say that my mission goal is to not try to convert or save anybody. I'm not trying to change the polytheist to become a monotheist. I just want to bring everyone together as spiritual brothers and sisters, because that's what we were originally created to be. We were all created to be, and I believe this truly, we were all created to love each other as brothers and sisters in this great family under the Creator. And the fact that there's this severe us and them mentality that can be so destructive and so hate mongering is just so sad. And we're living in a world where we can cure diseases and that were once a death sentence, and we still can't break bread with each other because that someone worships a bunny and another person prays to a duck. Come on, they're both animals. So
their shadow can look the same depending on how it shines, right?
Exactly. So let's break bread together. Let's truly sit down as brothers and sisters and break bread together. I will never promote my beliefs as the superior. Sorry, my phone's letting me know that there is an emergency flash flood warning. Thank you.
Somebody better be building a boat. I'm sorry.
But but what was I saying? Everybody just needs to calm the heck down and just come together, because again, the greatest commandment is that we love one another, and that we don't judge and just be friends. Be good neighbors. And like I said, I will never promote my personal beliefs as the right one or as the superior, because it could be wrong. We could all be wrong. We could all be right. So it's we haven't met the Creator yet, and we won't until we leave this earthly life and we leave this earthly body. So that's basically my statement, and my mission is to just, again, bring people together, teach tolerance, Worship as one spiritual family. Whether you want to be praying to Anubis or meditating on the 42 negative confessions or the runes or whatever you have, go for it. And if you have anything that's hard to talk about, and if you need spiritual guidance, please come to me. For those who are watching, if you have things you need to get off your chest, whether it's a confession or, coining some Catholic term there, whether it's a confession, whether you just need to talk about a hard thing that you can't really talk about with anywhere else, I am that ear that I will not like disclose it. I will not exploit you for it. I will guide you spiritually. If you want any sort of spiritual counseling, just come to me. Email me, message me, let me know, and we'll talk.
So okay. Also, if you can before be sure to send me all the like you. I mean, I can get the link of your channel, but and I got your email, but send me a list of things you want me to post in the description box of this video, so people can find your channel and find links to you.
Oh,
and
sure.
So forth.
I will
Go ahead.
PM you all that. And just put it in the description. I always mention it in my videos where they can email me, because I do have an email that is specifically attached to the channel and to my ministry.
Okay.
So I'll definitely send that to you. And like I said, it's very, I'm very open. I have limitations. I will not lie. I do have limitations, but those limitations are few and far between. Other than that, I'm very.
People don't need to be calling you up asking you for money, for example.
No, nobody will be asking. Nobody has to give me anything. All my spiritual counseling, all my readings, if you want a reading, is completely free, because the gift of this was given to me freely by the Creator, and so it is free for you. It's
You're talking about discernment and stuff like that, or
what?
Are you talking like about discernment and stuff like that?
Discernment, yeah. Just spiritual counseling, readings, because I do readings. Spiritual advice. That's all free. That was all freely given to me, and so I freely give it to everyone watching.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else? I guess I'll say thank you for being a guest on my channel. I look forward to having you again on any other subject you want to talk about. Maybe have a group chat with multiple people, not just one-on-one, like me, you, our friends were a friend from All Things Perceptual. I got to check on him. He hasn't uploaded anything in a while, so I got to check with him. But we're supposed to have a one-on-one, but he just disappeared. So I need to
multi-chat with you, Zabora. I'm not familiar with All Things Perceptual.
He talks about just about anything paranormal and
cool.
meditation, Kundalini, stuff like that.
I'll check him out. I'd love to meet him and do something with him too. So,
well, actually, I was a guest on his platform. He has a couple of thousand members, but he did one about my necromancy video where he used it to talk to his dog that passed away, and another one just basically talking about magic in general. So I'm on his channel somewhere, at least in 2 different videos. But anyways, I guess we'll wrap this up. And I think again, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And as soon as everything's processed and you send me that stuff, because like I said, my listeners there were personal friends. Once you PM me that, I'll just put all that information in the description box.
Sure.
And go check her out.
All right, definitely will.
Y'all take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome.